So just to show you an example, I'm going to take two programs. One is a client program and another one is socket program. And the common thing between the client and the server is that I'm going to have a library called socket. As simple as that. Okay. So let me keep the screen parallel to you. Look at that. One on the left hand side and another one is on the right hand side as socket in common. That's it. So socket is something that inbuilt in Python. So no need to pip install that separately. Fine. What is the next thing that we're supposed to focus here is that I know or we know that I'm going to exchange the message between the client and server. And this is how the program is going to play, right? These two program is going to exchange the messages between to and fro, right? From client to server, so to server to client. So what happened? Even though it is exchanging the data, I want this particular program to run on its own and that particular program to run on its own channel. So that's why I'm establishing this stuff which I have explained at line number 26. If double underscore name double underscore is double equal to main, that is in already in important packages. This is to make sure that whatever that comes below this will run one if and only if that particular file runs, to make sure that it runs on the standalone. So I'm calling a function called server program. Okay. So anywhere when you want to exchange your messages between one end to another end, what is very important? You need to make sure that the server is always ready. Server is always ready. Even for WhatsApp, if I want to connect or if I want to send a message to you, what is very essential? The server in which the WhatsApp got hosted should be always running so that the exchange can happen, the message sharing can happen. Same thing here as well. We need to make sure that the server program always runs, because that is what initial phase. If the server is there only, I can send a message by client. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Since I'm working on my system, I cannot take some other server to work upon. I can buy it, right? But just for the demonstration, I'm going to take my own system as a server for myself. So that's why I'm using this line, socket.hostname. If you're wondering what is this get hostname is nothing but one function of a socket where it will give you the hostname of your current system. So let me show that. Command prompt and hostname. When you enter, look at that. It shows or it gives the name of my laptop. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to consider my laptop as a server for this message exchange. Fine. What is there at line number 7? I do have a port. You know that, right? Even though you store or you keep or you place an application on any server, but that to work, you need to keep that in a specific port. That means if I ask you people to come to my home, that is a common server. But to make you sit in a specific place, I have to alert a chair. Correct? That's what port is all about. So I need to alert a port. It's up to me. It's up to me. I can alert any port of which. Make sure that you alert a port which was not occupied or which is not preoccupied by some other application. Sometimes the port that you keep it here might be used by some other application. So that you need to cross verify. Fine. What is next thing? We need to first start a connection. That means when I want to exchange the data, first I need to give the handshake. Usually that's what happens, right? When someone wants to give the handshake, somebody need to initiate first. So that is what the socket is going to do. It is going to create a channel. So that I'm going to keep it as server socket. That object that is created because of the socket, what I'm keeping it as server underscore socket, an object in which a layer of socket got created. Fine. Now what happened? It initiates the connection part. That means it opens the gate. When somebody wants to enter my home, what is the first thing that I'm supposed to do? Open a gate for them to come in. That's what I'm doing at line number 8. So I'm opening a gate so that a client can connect. So that's what on the very next line, I'm making sure that the print statement says server is ready waiting for the client. Well and good. Let me explain the rest of the steps and then I'll take you to the running of the code. Then what is line number 10? If at all any client connect to this host, to this port, then I have to bind. Bind means catch that. attach that connectivity. And line number 11 tells you how many client I can take at a time. Listen of 2 means 2 number of client connection I can have at a time for one server. Fine. After it is, catching that, it needs to accept the connection, right? Opening a gate is not important. You need to receive them, and receiving is not important. You need to make sure that they sit in your home. That's what happened. So line number 8 is to open a gate. Line number 10 is to accept them. Is to allow them. And line number 2 is to connect that. That is what the establishment is happening. Line number 12 is establishment. So usually the server socket that accept will release two output. One is a connection data and another one is address of the client. So that's what I'm printing it separately, and that's what I'm getting it into separate variable. One on the connection and another one on the address thing. Okay. Now it will print saying that the connection has been established from that particular address. Address is nothing but address of your client. Good. Now while true means if nothing happens, it will come back here. It will receive the data from the connection, from this connection. So connect dot receive. This is a inbuilt command. Receive of 1204 means 1 byte of 1 KB of data. And dot decode. You know that when you exchange a message between two connectivity to ends, the message that is shared by one of the end will be always encoded. That means they'll make sure that nobody reads unless until you decode that. So that's why when I receive a data, I'm decoding it. Okay. Now, if there is no data after receiving the connection, I'm breaking the while loop. But if there is a data, then I'm printing it here saying that from a connected user, this is what the data is all about. Then it is sending the message back to the client. Look at that. Enter the message to the client for the benefit. So now what it does, it is sending. Look at that at line number 23, connection dot send. And while I'm sending, what I'm doing, I'm encoding the data. So the data dot encode. If you're wondering what is the default mechanism for encode, UTF-8. UTF-8 is the default encoding mechanism. Okay. Then if all goes fine, I'm closing the connection. So this is what server part. You know that every server to work, you need to have a client. So I'm going to create another client. Okay. And same thing, socket. And then to run it in a separate channel, I'm creating this if condition, kind of a void main, where I'm calling my client program function, which is at line number 3. Now it went here. Now look at line number 4 and 5. Now you might be wondering, Mohan, line number 6 and 7 on the server is almost equivalent to line number 4 and 5 of your client. See why I am putting the same condition, just to show you the example, right? I may not have the server to showcase it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to run both my server as well as a client program in my own system. I know that the host name of my system will be get host name from the socket. So only I'm using the same thing on line number 4 of your client. If a server is hosted in some other IP, you need to put that IP here at line number 4. Same thing with the port. Whatever the port in which the server got connected, the same port you have to use it here in this one. Okay. Same thing. First, when they give the handshake, you give them the handshake so that you get into the mutual connectivity, and then you are connecting. When line number 8 happens, only there line number 10 happens. It binds. So you're connecting to the host of the server and port of the server. As simple as that. And you are trying to send a message from first, the client will be sending the message to the server. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be taking the message. I'm converting the message into the lowercase and I'm stripping that. If at all there is a space before and after the string, I'm stripping it. I'm making sure that that message should not be by. If it is a by, it will close the connection. If not by, then what it does? It sends a message by means of encoding. Same thing. When it sends, it can also receive. So the message data happens between these two. Okay. And if you people running this code on idle, right, you cannot run these two at the same time because idle always create one open channel for both the things. So better you run a first program using idle. Look at that. Server is ready waiting for the client. What you can do, you can run your client from your command prompt. Look at that. As soon as I entered, you can see the output of your server. Look at that. It shows you the address. Of course, the address will be yours only, but at least it is showing. But at least it is showing. Look at that. So now when I say hi network, look at that. That got received over in your server. So now hi. When I send hi, wait for some time, that will happen. Right. So now as I explained, right, we do have to set up ready. One is a server and another one is a client. So now what we're supposed to do is that we need to make sure that the server is always running first. So I'm going to run the server first. Look at that. It says server is ready. Now in ideal, right, please don't run these two at the same time. You cannot run that. Either you can use PyCharm or you just follow the statement that how I'm executing here. First, I ran the server program within my idle screen. To run my client, I'm opening this folder, command prompt, and type Python space and socket client. So as soon as you enter the socket client, you can see the output at the background screen. Say connection from the particular IP is connected. If you're wondering why it is giving 127.0.0.1, you know that both the server and client is running on the same system. So it is giving you the address of your local host. So that's the beauty, right? You don't need to worry about that. If it is a some other server, then it would have shown the IP address of that particular server. Since both server and client running on the same machine, it is giving you the local IP path. Okay. So now I'm going to send a message from my client first. Look at that. When I send hi, that is getting received at the background. You can see hi is getting received at the background. Now you can send a response. Hello. If you send hello, it will be retrieved here. So you can send a message to Froth. Okay, welcome. Look at that. Welcome is received. So that you can stop or you can start exchanging the messages between these two connections. So this is what we call it as, right? When you close the server, client will automatically will get closed. Look at that. Connection was closed because server is the parent code for anything. So this is how your network works in a basic layer. Okay, so this is how the basic connection that happens between client and server. Okay, to learn this as a basic, right, this is for most enough. This is for most enough because when you want to dig deeper into this concept, then we can see that, you know, how you can exchange a message without waiting for others. Now what happening is it is like it's happening like one after the other, right? You send a message, when it receives, it sends the back. That's how I written a code. At times, you may write a message saying that, you know, it should not be monotonic. You can keep sending a message as we do with the WhatsApp and, you know, Facebook Messenger. You send the message, it will reach out to the client, and whenever client want to receive that, send that back, they can send that back. Okay, this is how this specific socket connectivity happens. But for time being, this is what the basic connectivity. And important for this is to understand the layer called a socket. What does the socket does and how it is going to help us in a big picture. Okay, so keep learning these guys. We might see in some other video. Thank you.